It seems like most of his public appearances, he's playing someone with disabilities.
Johnny Depp?
Yeah. He's just kind of a column of scarves and pretense.
Column of scarves.
My favorite is, have you seen his perfume commercial or cologne commercial where he's
like
just
like a wolf?
Yeah, he's like in the desert with a guitar and there's a wolf. Oh, I love it.
I feel that's every cologne commercial. They're just like, what if we just showed someone's fever dream and
It's the best.
and put Zendaya in it?
And it's funny because like almost every other type of content has somehow changed, but you feel like perfume commercials abide. They're never going to get past just like weird voiceover.
Yeah, that's true. Like the marketing individuals are just like, we have this dialed in.
Desire. They're the best.
A night
to remember. Welcome to Roden Tomatoes. I'm Ben Roden.
I'm Brady Tomatoes.
This is a show where we talk about movies,
magic, and Muppets. What a segue.
What a segue.
The cologne industry hasn't changed. They found the formula that works, and they've dialed it in. And the movie that we saw recently, Sinners by Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler, I feel did not adhere to the norms of your typical movie.
Were very few conventions observed by Ryan Coogler. You want to know why I like Ryan Coogler?
Please tell me.
Well, a lot of reasons, but I feel like his name sounds like Steve Brule talking about a mountain lion. Like a Coogler. He's like, oh my God, is that a Coogler? What's the name of his little like assistant? Kenny or Jimmy or
I don't know.
Denny, there's a Coogler.
Right there, that's a big house cat called a Coogler.
Ever seen a Coogler? I have. For your health.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler. Let's talk about Ryan Coogler for just a second.
He directed. I didn't know a lot about him.
Yeah, well,
directed Black Panther.
Let's just read his filmography as a director. He is like very much a film guy and has been a producer, has been a grip, has done a bunch of stuff. But just read, or just listen, rather. Read with your eyes, read with your ears.
Okay.
This filmography, starting in 2013, Fruitvale Station, Brought Down the House at Cannes, Creed, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Sinners. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Not really a miss. I actually haven't seen Wakanda Forever, but by all accounts, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first Black Panther was much better.
Unbelievable. Well, you've got Chadwick Boseman. Yeah.
Yeah.
For somebody at the start of their career, that's a pretty sick run.
Yeah,
of
for
movies.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And you feel like, we talked about this after we watched the movie, it sort of felt like this was Ryan Coogler saying, like, everything I've made is successful. Nobody here gets to tell me no. I'm going to just put whatever I want in this movie.
I directed 2 Disney films. I
Two of
directed
them.
2 Marvel films.
Yeah, he has paid his dues, and he's, I think, a rare case of somebody who all of his movies have been good and all of them have made money.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't check both of those boxes. But it feels like he came into Sinners saying, like, look, I'm the guy. I've proven that I'm the guy, and nobody is going to step on my vision. And it was awesome.
Yeah. Overall, if people say, did you like Sinners? I would say overall, yes. It was a ride.
Right.
I would say that Sinners felt like 3 different movies.
At least 3 different movies.
It was a 3-for-1, and if we would have followed the story and like the follow through with any one of these 3 movies, it would have been great.
Yeah.
I do feel that putting everything together all in one did make it feel a little disjointed.
I agree.
That's my opinion.
I agree. It felt like, so what are the 3 movies? There's sort of a like Depression era Southern like cultural perspective movie where it's about these guys and how integral music is in their lives. It's about like segregation and creating like your own space, right? That's the movie which is the first act of the movie, right? Where they're gathering the crew, they're getting the band together.
Yeah. And it almost, in that regard, it almost had the same feel as, because it also takes place in Louisiana. So it kind of had that feeling of Princess and the Frog, where she had a dream and she's working to achieve that dream. She wants to work to get that restaurant. You know, she's a black woman in the Deep South that is having to really push her way uphill to make this dream come true. And I do feel that the first part of Sinners was that.
Yeah, and I loved it.
Yeah, it was great.
It felt different than anything I'd seen. I loved the any shot when they were out in the like cotton fields.
Yeah.
It felt almost dreamlike, the way it was lit, and it was just like wide open blue sky and just a seemingly endless plain of these cotton plants. And it was like marked all the transitions. Like every time they'd go drive to kind of the next chapter of the movie, they would go through the cotton fields.
Picking up the next person, show the cotton fields.
Yeah. So there's that movie, and then
which I think would have been a very interesting movie to watch.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, and it was like period details that felt very specific and different. Like everything in like when they go into town and they're ordering stuff at the general store, that felt very authentic to me because it didn't look exactly like, oh, this is a little Western. Like it was like, okay, this is somebody had a specific vision from the costuming to the like production design.
Yep.
And then there was some stuff that I had never seen in a movie either, like when one half of Micheal B. Jordan, and I can't remember which, if it was Smoke or Stack, but when he goes to see his sort of ex-wife, or are they still together, who does kind of like woods magic.
Yeah.
Like that was cool to see that on screen, that she's sort of doing this like folk healing and sort of like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, more cultural, kind of building, like establishing that cultural, I don't know, like motif.
Yeah.
And I think that was Smoke.
Smoke.
Stack had the big brim hat, and he was gathering the, I can't remember the character's name, but the dude with the harmonica. What was his name?
It's Delroy Lindo is the actor who I absolutely love.
Oh, I was looking at
Delroy Lindo to me is like he's like a Willem Dafoe, where he's always stands out. Like I just like relish seeing him and stuff. He's always like so fun and magnetic to watch.
Delta Slim.
Delta Slim. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's Mississippi, not Louisiana, because it's the Mississippi Delta, I think. Or is it?
Oh, I thought it.
I don't know anything about
you were talking about New Orleans, or okay, well,
maybe
the South.
It's the South.
It was the South. But yeah, like the fun, like building of the culture and seeing the town, the really great music, both played by one of the main characters. What was his name?
That kid who I think is a first time, like that's his first feature.
That was his breakout role.
Miles Catton or Caton.
Yeah.
That's the actor's name.
Voice.
Yeah, he had a phenomenal voice. He was awesome. Yeah, so I guess that's maybe one of the movies as well, or maybe that's part of the first movie is again like musical themes, because you start with the like the Christian congregation. The main character's dad is a preacher. So you have this like hymnal, choral, like black church music, and then you have the blues, and then they introduce later through the creepy Irish vampire character the sort of like Celtic inspired. There's like some ragtime. Anyway, it's it's sort of like a tour of the musical era. It was very, very cool.
Yeah. So that is one of the movies. The other movie that they had in this was a Southern vampire movie.
Just a pure like B-movie fun vampire schlock.
Yeah. It's like, what if instead of seeing vampires in Transylvania, or we had talked about Nosferatu, like in the old Europe, like what if we saw that in like the Bayou? What would that look like?
Yeah.
And that I also thought could be a very interesting movie.
Yeah. And so different tonally.
Yes.
A lot of people compare this movie to From Dusk Till Dawn, which you haven't seen, right? It's similar in that it starts out in one genre. It's like sort of a grimy Tarantino well, I say Tarantino because he's in it. I don't think he was. I don't know what his role was in making it. Anyway, very grimy characters on the run from the law. They stop at this like nightclub, and it turns out it's like a vampire haven. And from that point on, it's just a crazy vampire movie.
Okay.
So it sort of felt like that, just because it's like surprise vampires. Other than that, I don't think they're super similar, but there is like a total shift in tone when they introduce the vampires.
Yes.
Because it's feels pretty grounded up to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And pretty dark. Like there's a lot they talk about. They don't shy away from subjects of like segregation. The one guy's in the Klan.
Mm-hmm.
There's the whole I forget again. Smoker Stack that goes to visit his partner. They talk about how they lost a baby.
Yeah.
It feels like there's a lot of struggle. I think they introduced the idea that Smoke and Stack had to kill their own dad because he was abusive.
Uh-huh.
And then it gets kooky.
Yeah.
It gets real kooky real fast.
Yeah, it very much, it just pivots. And then, so the third movie that I feel they could have made is they hint at it. The brothers Smoke and Stack, the Smokestack twins, they talk about them coming from Chicago and them working with Al Capone, and they have all this money that they're able to buy the barn or the warehouse that they turn into a what do you call it? Like a club.
A juke joint is what they call it.
Yeah, a juke joint. But I also feel there's like these boys that go off to Chicago and become familiar with corruption, and then they come back to their roots to get revenge on the corruption in the South. Mm-hmm. They buy the warehouse from the Ku Klux Klan guy, and you see at the end that they very much prepared for like the KKK coming back. They anticipated the KKK not being happy with them having their own land.
Right.
And so I do think that is another film that could have been all on its own.
There's that, or even I kept wondering if they were going to introduce more of like the crime element, where it seems like they've gotten this money through some nefarious means. They're stealing from the mob or stealing from different organized crime.
Yeah.
I kept wondering if somebody from Chicago is going to show up. Yeah. And there's going to be like a showdown related to that.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. So you take all of these movies, you hear the premise of all these movies, and you think any one of those would work. Mm-hmm. But Ryan Coogler said, "What if we did all of them in 2 hours?" Mm-hmm. And it was, for me, I think that's very much an artistic choice, but for me, it felt too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen Amadeus?
I have not.
There's
so many things in our podcast where we had like a counter last episode.
Yeah.
And
what was it? Type stuff? The type stuff
the
counter?
Type stuff counter. And there's this thing where it's a very interesting thing because we are two guys talking about movies and we have insights into them, and you're like, have you seen this movie that everyone's seen? I'm like, I haven't yet. It could be fine. It's on my list.
Yeah.
Counter.
It's on my list counter.
There are so many things. Like the other day, someone mentioned Jaws.
Yeah.
And who hasn't seen Jaws? And I raised my hand like, how have you not seen Jaws?
Foolish.
Like,
you just haven't. Yeah. No,
it's
fine.
Will.
In Amadeus, there's a running gag of too many notes.
Too many notes?
Like when Mozart presents his music, the king or the duke, who's sort of his patron, is like, there's too many notes.
Okay.
Describes this movie a little bit. There's just a little too much going on at times. To your point, though, did I like it? Yes.
Yeah.
Did I have a hell of a time watching it? Yes. At no point was I like, all the components are very well crafted. Even when there are tonal shifts, it's like, this is well made.
Yeah.
When it's scary, it's supposed to be scary, it's scary. I loved, for example, the like reflective pupils on the vampires to make them look like predators. Super simple and really, really effective. I loved the scene where they were all outside like singing in unison. That was
Irish chant.
Super, super scary.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the scene.
Oh my goodness.
So there's the movie starts with a voiceover about throughout all these different cultures, there's these people that can kind of access the beyond through music.
Mm-hmm.
That they can capture something through music that kind of blurs the boundary between the living and the dead, basically. And it's a cool intro. And they don't touch on it for then the next hour or something.
Yeah.
There's this cool almost like woodcut or like engraving, these kind of illustrations. Anyway, so this idea kind of runs through the movie, and the main character is made out to be one of these kind of shamans
gifted.
Of music,
Yeah.
right? He plays the guitar so well or in such a particular way that it becomes magical. And so there's a scene, maybe halfway through the movie, where he's playing at this juke joint at this huge community party, and you see on film as this magic starts to happen.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I do feel that scene, you did see a little bit of the vampires before, like a tiny bit of the vampires, but that is the scene that essentially engages the very stark tonal shift.
Mm-hmm.
And what a scene it was. It is so cool. As I looked at the Letterboxd reviews after I had put my 2 cents in and I started looking through the reviews, there were so many people that just said, wow, that scene, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Because it was phenomenal. It was really, really well done. There were so many things happening, and very seamlessly you'd see people from the past showed up, and like the music, they brought in different styles of music. So you had like the really old people like tribesmen from Africa that were playing drums and chanting, and it all went in harmony with the blues music that he was playing. You had the electric guitar guy come out, and it just all
they had this like
well.
Parliament funk looking guy with like huge fro, and he's wearing like a jumpsuit with an electric guitar, and then there's like girls in the back like twerking to like, and they like add in like a hip hop beat.
Rap and hip hop.
It was very, very cool. And then even so one of the things that they talk about is it's like it introduces like the spirit world, but also like the past and the future.
Mm-hmm.
And the one couple that runs the general store are they Chinese? They're Asian. Anyway, so you see their ancestors also like taking part in this party. Right. It was very, very cool. And then there's like, in a sort of metaphorical, magical realism sort of way, like the juke joint burns down and they're all just out in this field together.
Just wide open.
You can see like the embers floating up into the sky. It was amazing.
Yeah, really, really cool.
And again, like that's like if you lean into that theme, and I'll talk about this later because I have a different ending for the movie I want to pitch.
Ooh, okay.
That's a cool movie. The Vampires movie is a cool movie. There's a lot of elements. And I don't think that movies necessarily have to be one genre, like right? I love a good like mashup. I love a horror comedy.
Parasite was one that was very much like it's a family heist movie, and then it gets crazy. Yeah, it very much shifts. So yeah, I agree. They don't need to follow a formula, and I think that's why this is hard. Like when people say, "Do you like Sinners?" Like, what did you think about it? Like I would have a hard time saying it was a 5 for me, because it just felt disjointed. But at the same time, you look at it as a piece of art, and you're like, this is someone taking a risk. This is someone doing something unconventionally. Yeah, but what's so cool about Ryan Coogler is it's like, even though it's artistic, it's not... My friend and I always talk about, like, this movie's quite challenging. Or like if music just sounds kind of it's like, yeah, this album's a little challenging. And it's like, it's hard to digest. You know what I mean? Sometimes you go into an art movie and you're like, that was really good, but it like, some parts of it were a slog. Right. There was none of that in this. It was a little bit all over the place. There were maybe too many notes, but all the individual pieces worked. It flowed well. Yeah, it was, at no point was I bored or dissatisfied with it. Yeah. What I did find though was I kept being surprised when it wasn't over. Like there's like I think 3 scenes where they're like, oh, surely that's it, and then it's like, oh nope, here we go, and it's another left turn. Yeah, and it's not just like a Marvel end of credit scene where it's like, oh look, here's the boot of someone that you may recognize. The boot will return in 2027. It was very much like, hey, this this is a integral part of this story.
Yeah. It almost felt like they had a couple scenes that were like, we're not sure how to integrate these, but we think they're really cool. Let's just throw them at the end.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I'm glad that I knew so little going into it, because at no point did I have any meaningful predictions about what was going to happen next. It was pretty sweet in that way.
I think the only thing that I had heard about the movie was it was like a whisper. It was a LaCroix of a rumor that it was a vampire movie.
Uh-huh.
And that was the only thing that I
But this
heard.
was, the criticism was, it's not enough of a vampire movie.
That was,
right?
it was my sister-in-law. She just said, like, I thought it was a vampire movie, but I didn't see a vampire until, like, halfway through the movie.
Mm.
And so,
Yeah.
but other than that, I didn't know anything.
Yeah, I guess if you go in expecting any kind of movie, you might be a little disappointed because of how widely ranging
Yeah.
it ends up being. I've been recommending it to people with the caveat of, like, it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
But if you're just in for a ride, and saying just in for a ride sort of discounts the movie a little bit, because I do think there are some, like, really interesting ideas. It's not like disposable entertainment, but it is, I guess, indulgent is the word I would say. It's Ryan Coogler getting to indulge his creative proclivities.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So speaking of proclivities, let's talk about
Proclivities count.
I wanted to talk about Michael B. Jordan for a minute because that guy is such a good actor, and I kept thinking, like, man, I like everything that he's in, and I looked up his filmography.
It's all Coogler.
There's like 4 things.
Yeah.
He is such a good actor.
He's great.
And we got him twice in this movie.
Double the Jordan. Michael B. Jordan. When the movie started, I noticed, okay, they're going to color code these guys. So one's kind of blue, one's kind of red when they're hanging out of the car. And because they're both just like, well, I mean, it's the same guy. I was like, I kind of was a little bit worried that I was going to have a hard time telling the characters apart. And I know I've had to ask for clarification on names, but his performance was so clear and, like, so well drawn that it, like, I was never curious about which character we were following. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
you could tell from his, like, even the small mannerisms in, like, in his facial expressions, like, oh, that's the brother that's a little more, like, hard-nosed, a little more serious.
Exactly. They did such a good job of, like, crafting 2 very distinct characters given the constraint that it's you in both roles.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
One of the things that I thought was just so awesome was how much swagger, like, that everything about the movie lent to the swagger of these 2 smokestack twins. Yeah. Just like the cinematography, you had, like, the wides, so you could really see them, like, very contrasted with the like the empty sky or the empty background, and you had, like, these very bright, vibrant characters. Yeah. In their bright clothing. But it was just so cool, like the way that they moved and talked, and the little gold outlining on Stack's tooth, the way that they talked, everything was just so smooth. And I was like, I have a giant man crush on these 2 twins. Well, they had so much swagger.
You're doomed because it's Michael B. Jordan. He's a beautiful man that you just have no chance.
Yeah, no chance.
Yeah, they were very cool. And they felt like larger than life, not in a bad way, but, like, it was almost as if you were seeing them through the eyes of Sammy, as, like, everybody in the town knows who these guys are. Like, these are the cool, this is who you want to be. Yeah. If you're growing up and you're a little rebellious, you're getting into the music scene, you're pushing against your religious upbringing, like, these are my role models. These guys are awesome.
It was very cool. And I loved the guitar. They really amped up the bass on the guitar, so you had boom, 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 boom. Yeah. As like they would be driving, like you just had that really big bass, which really added to, like, the power of the 2 brothers. It was so cool. Yeah. I loved the sound mixing and design of this movie. It was
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite things.
I learned in doing a little reading ahead of this conversation that Coogler, I think in all of his movies, has worked with Ludwig Göransson, who did the music for this movie.
Oh.
So he always uses Micheal B. He always uses Ludwig. And the music was amazing.
Yeah.
And I think Buddy Guy, famous blues guitarist, who plays Sammy in a little
The end
epilogue.
credits, yeah.
I think he was like a musical consultant as well. So he helped like
Interesting.
with the jazz playing and composition.
Isn't that so fascinating how there are some directors that they have like their people.
Yeah.
Like Martin Scorsese,
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio is like one of his go-tos, or
It's like his
Matt
muse.
Damon.
Yeah.
And then you have like Tim Burton, that Helena Bonham Carter and Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating.
It's interesting. It's I've been thinking about this a lot because we actually saw the trailer for the new Wes Anderson movie, and I said, "Good for Wes Anderson for trying something different." His style is so Wes Anderson, and it's like you see these familiar faces. I've reached a point with Wes Anderson where it almost feels like self-parody. Like I remember seeing the trailer for Asteroid City and being like, "This looks like an SNL short making fun of Wes Anderson." Ryan Coogler, even though he uses these same guys, I feel like all his movies have been so different.
Yeah.
I wonder if you watch them back to back, if you'd start to notice some of those little like affectations, or maybe not. Maybe he doesn't have. Maybe he hasn't developed those stylistic habits yet.
Yeah. I've only seen one Wes Anderson movie, and it was Fantastic Mr. Fox. So very different than Grand Budapest Hotel and
but also not that different.
Yeah, but
the rhythm of it is very Wes Anderson. But
it's so fascinating that in trying to be like stand out, like I'm going to stand out, like it almost like has become like its own thing. Like it's like a Wes Anderson thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily stand out anymore. It's just like
it's its
own thing.
So many people have been aping it or parodying it, or like it's just so. I remember one time I opened my drawer in my house, and it was like an old apartment, and it had like liner paper inside that. It's sort of like wallpaper, but like to line the drawer. And it was this blue gingham check liner. And the only thing in the drawer was like my toothbrush and toothpaste, and they were perfectly symmetrically lined up. And I was like, is this a Wes Anderson shot? This is crazy. So it is funny that it's like he so successfully created a style that then when he goes back to do it, it feels a bit staid. Where it's like, oh, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
Tarantino's the same way, where it's like, man, this is an extremely Tarantino movie. Every time you watch him, it's great. But it's interesting.
It's very fun to see. Tarantino was one of the first times that I noticed like, oh, this guy has director power and he doesn't care.
Yeah.
I was watching Django Unchained, and there's just like this big old like, boom, like here's the title of where they are, like huge. So I was like, oh, that's almost like high school. Yeah. It's like a high school video editor. It's like, I'm going to make sure they know we're in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Bam. And it was just like really loud, or like he used Jim Croce. Like there was all this like, very for the times appropriate music. And then when Django becomes a bounty hunter, you have Jim Croce.
Yeah.
Move it, or like, I've got a name. And I was like, oh, that is interesting, but
go wild.
That's what you can do when you're a director.
An auteur. Yeah. Okay, so can I pitch you how I end this movie?
Please.
My issue, I think, is not that there's a lot going on, but it felt like there was untapped potential, or like elements that didn't quite wrap up the way that I would have liked them to. Actually, after we watched it, I thought, this feels like it was adapted from a book. It feels like the mix of genres could work really well in a book or in a series, and it almost felt like they were adapting it to fit everything into a movie. It's not that way, but that's kind of how it felt.
So it's an original screenplay.
I think it's an original screenplay. Did he? I think he wrote it as well. Yeah. Anyway, I really liked the motif of his music being magic, and I feel like they could have used that in the climax of the movie.
He did use his guitar as a weapon.
He did. I don't know that I would change too much, except that it seems like the vampires were kind of surprised by the sunrise, which is like, do you guys not know how day and night works?
This is literally your destruction.
Yeah. So, what's the evil Whitey's name? Remick. So Remick, the vampire.
The Irish vampire.
The Irish vampire. There's kind of a throwaway line, and I wish they would have developed this idea more, that Remick is after Sammy, the guitar-playing kid, because since he can't die, he sees Sammy as a way for him to like see his past relatives. And it's kind of like I'm after you because of this, and it was kind of like, oh, really? We had no indication of that until this moment. Anyway, I feel like they could have built that up. So what I would have done,
give it to me,
Ryan, take some notes. I thought it would have been cool if Sammy sort of viewed that as like, okay, this can make me the honeypot then. So like I can be tempting to the vampires, and I can like.
Okay.
So anyway, I envision some scenario where towards the end of the movie, he says, okay, fine, I'll do it. And he sort of like entrances them by calling out the dead. And so all the people who have been turned into vampires are sort of hypnotized or captured by the fact that they can see all their dead relatives.
Oh, yeah.
And they become so lost in this moment that the sun rises, and that's how they win.
Oh, yeah. That is, I really like that.
I think that would have been really cool because all the sort of magic he does is unintentional.
Yeah.
He just starts playing, but it would be cool if he's like, okay, well, if I have this power, this ability, here's how I can use it to overcome the vampires.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been cool.
Yeah, you're right, because the setup from the beginning, where it's like there are these people that have the ability to essentially communicate. Like the music is like the thing that bridges like time and space. And so there are some people that have this ability, and so we see that midway through, and that is the thing that basically gets the vampire's attention. He's like, oh, that's where I want to go.
Yeah, they mentioned that too in the beginning, that sometimes it calls to like dark themes.
Yeah,
or whatever.
and that's essentially it. It was like they set it up from the beginning, and it happened to draw the vampires, and then there was
and then they just
really
kind
nothing beyond
of
that.
Then they kind of just dick around for a while and try and eat all the people.
Yeah.
And then they just forget that the sun is coming out.
You're right.
I think it's like in The Hobbit where Gandalf tricks the trolls into like arguing until the sun comes up, kind of like that. Where like, could he have taken a more active role, or could that theme have been revisited in a way that like finishes that storyline?
To make more of an active choice. Yeah, I agree. Because it did kind of turn into, oh, he's run faster.
Right.
And so he ran into the thing. It's like, oh, he's using his guitar, and he hit the guy. Like, oh, no, he's about to be bit. Oh, someone came up from behind and stabbed him. Yeah. And now he's distracted, and the sun comes up, and they all die.
Yeah.
Like,
it seems like that.
It was very cliche.
And it felt like if you're gonna play with this theme, like weave it in more.
Yeah.
I will say though, I loved the effect of when he hit the guy with the guitar, like the resonator guitar, and the steel plate is like slammed in Remick's face.
That was cool.
That was awesome.
But you could have done that as like with your idea where he's playing the music, and all the other people that are very new to this, like they have this collective consciousness that's kind of established in the movie. But the people that are brand new to this are seeing like their dead relatives, or they're seeing maybe even their future like descendants that like they'll never know.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And so like they're kind of distracted, and Remick then snaps at it because he's been at it longer. Yeah. So maybe, and so you could still have like the guitar showdown. Yeah. But I think it would like lend more to like the theme that they established earlier, like the little Chekhov's guitar, if you will.
Chekhov's Git box. I agree, and I also think it would have done some work in restoring the humanity of the vampires. One of the things I thought was interesting is like as soon as they get turned, they're instantly evil. Yeah, and so it would be cool if like seeing their ancestors made them like, oh, I don't want to be a vampire, or because then later in the movie when the brother who survived shows up again, it's kind of like, oh, they're just people now? We were under the impression that they're like, that's not your brother, but it's like, no, clearly it was. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, how human are the vampires? I feel like that was not clear. Yeah.
Gosh, I just thought, I did not think about this until we started discussing this, but I wonder if and maybe I'm wrong, Ryan Coogler. So you can tweet at me. No, I don't. I got rid of X. That's dumb. But you can send me a text message if you want. And so I wonder if
he's in my phone as Cougs.
As Cougs, the Cougs. I wonder if this was maybe a commentary on like groupthink, because the Klan is one of the things, right? Like that's a very good example of groupthink, where the Klan, as an entire body, like they're swayed by this idea that black people are less than human, and so I wonder if it maybe had something to do with, like the vampire gets one person and then it like spreads to another and to another and to another until they're all like very convincing, like, guys, this is the right way. Like, we all need to be dead. Like, we're all going to be together. We're going to band together. And just to show the danger of collective thought.
Yeah.
And we saw that danger in something very bloodthirsty and evil, which was the Klan, but then also literally bloodthirsty and evil, which was the vampires.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Interesting.
I could be wrong.
Interesting. No, I like that. Yeah, I think that's interesting. I wonder like how much thematic material I missed. I'd like to see it again. Kind of.
You gotta watch things twice.
You gotta watch things at least twice.
This is what I learned. You watch things twice.
It's true. Is it Muppet time?
I think it is. I think it's Muppet time. And this is one that I've been thinking about. I don't have everything fleshed out.
Okay.
We like to figure out, if we were to cast Muppets in this, what would that look like? Who would we cast for what roles? And I've been thinking about this a lot. I think that only one of the Smokestack brothers needs to be a Muppet. So they're identical twins,
yes,
but one is very much a Muppet, and one is Michael B. Jordan. I know it's probably an obvious pick, but I want Michael B. Jordan as the human in this because, as I mentioned before, I have a man crush on him. He's fantastic. He's got the swagger. But how freaking great would that be? To have the twins standing against the car. You love seeing Muppet legs.
I do. I love it.
To have a Muppet standing against the car, and when he passes the cigarette, he has to like bend over to like.
Oh my gosh! This is just so many incredible sight gags.
Yes.
And just gags you can write around like. Clearly, we're twins. Like, oh my gosh, I love that idea.
Yeah.
So who's the Muppet?
That is what I have not figured out yet. It's got to be a Muppet with swagger.
That's true.
It has to be a Muppet with swagger. But that was one thing that I just kept going over and over and over in my mind. I was like, it has to be one of the twins.
That's so funny. Like somebody's like, how come you guys wear different color suits so you can tell us apart?
Yeah, it's like, Mom always did it so she could tell us apart. And I do think that would be so amazing. And I do think the Muppet would be the one that turns into a vampire. I think the Michael B. Jordan would. I think it's a Smoke. Smoke would be the same. Like he doesn't turn into a vampire, but his Muppet counterpart does turn into a vampire.
There's a scene at the end where Smoke is strangling Stack, or vice versa. Imagine that, like that sequence of shots with Michael B. Jordan straddling a Muppet, just choking the life out of him. Phenomenal.
So I'm looking at, who would have swagger? We've established before that Rolf the dog is so chill.
Yeah.
Does that? Would you describe Michael B. Jordan's characters, any one of them, as chill?
No.
So it can't be.
I mean,
Rolf.
they are cool, but they're also very like driven.
Yeah.
What about Rizzo?
Okay, I can see Rizzo.
You could see Rizzo like doing unseemly things for money.
And I do feel that at some point in time, I have seen Rizzo with like a fedora. So if he had like a red fedora.
Well, even if you haven't, it feels like it fits somehow.
Yeah. Okay, I'm down. And that just makes the sight gags even more extreme because Rizzo is one of the smaller
teeny
Muppets.
tiny, yeah.
Even compared to Gonzo, who's only like 1.5 feet tall.
Yeah, so like to go back to your sight gag of him lighting the cigarette, like Michael B. Jordan is like leaning on the car and Rizzo is like on the running board leaning on the wheel well.
Yep.
Like that's the size difference.
It.
So he has to reach all the way down to give him his cigarette.
Plus,
Here's the other thing.
Ooh, yes.
How many Muppets can you picture smoking? I feel like Rizzo with a cigarette also works.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rizzo makes sense. Okay, so we got Rizzo cast. Do we keep Slim or do we replace him with a Muppet?
Okay.
Because he's a great character.
Delroy Lindo and Muppets feels so good to me. So I would totally love to have him. Although there's also an alternate version where all the musicians are members of the Electric Mayhem.
Oh, yeah.
So I could go either way on that one.
So, okay, so if we're casting, we want to make sure we get butts and seats for this Muppet movie. So we got to cast Miss Piggy. Would you cast Miss Piggy as the singer or as the voodoo priestess?
I cast her as the married woman that Sammy has an affair with in the back room.
So the singer?
The soul, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She's the singer.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Miss Piggy giving like a sultry, soulful performance on stage is phenomenal.
Okay.
Probably not the oral. We'd probably leave that out of the Muppet movie.
He's in the room with us now, but we went and saw it with our good friend, and we when we left the theater, we were talking about that was like 3 different movies. I really like the sound design, and his comment was there was a lot of oral in that movie.
And he's right. He's right. The more you think about it, you're like, okay, I kind of can see this is what Ryan Coogler's into.
Yeah, anything sexual
it's very illustrative.
was very oral.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, you probably cut that out. You probably make some concessions since it is a Muppet movie.
Yeah.
Although, could this be the first R-rated Muppet movie?
Oh, maybe.
It's the Deadpool of Muppet movies.
And here's the other thing about making this a Muppet movie is I feel like the tonal shifts wouldn't be as noticeable.
True.
You'd
That's
be like,
true.
oh, okay, this makes sense because it's a Muppet movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. All right, I
so
like that.
listen, Cougs, you got
a good thing going here.
Yeah, you got a
Cougs.
good thing going. You just have the wrong vibe.
Mm.
You got to go with a Muppet vibe, and then you can shift genres, tones, whatever you want, as many times as you want.
Mm-hmm.
It all makes sense if you cast the Muppets.
Okay, so we've got Miss Piggy,
Mm-hmm.
Kermit Vampire, Kermit Remick.
Kermit Vampire. I didn't think about Kermit Vampire. I was thinking that he's got his banjo, so maybe he was Sammy, the main character. But I actually love the idea of Kermit, the Irish vampire, because he's green, and Irish people are also green.
Perfect.
So I do like that. I do like the idea of Kermit being the vampire.
That would be
makes
funny to
sense.
have him, like, they show up and they try to kind of play their way to the party. He's just like, why are there so many?
Yeah, he just starts. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, come on out here, guys. Yeah. Come on, we're like family.
I love that. You can see him gathering. Oh, man. Can you imagine the party scene with a bunch of people and Muppets?
Amazing.
I love when they do, I think they probably do it in all of them, but the one that I think of is in Muppet Christmas Carol. Anytime it's like a big group scene and it's a mix of Muppets and people and no one seems to care.
Yeah.
Like when they're walking through the streets of London and it's like there's people and rats.
There's talking horses.
And there's a talking horse. I love that vibe. So having just like a giant party with like all the people and then some Muppets thrown in there would just be glorious.
That would be awesome.
Doing their Muppet dance where they just move their wrists like this. You see them moving like this and they just pipe in like tap dancing sounds. Oh my gosh. I love Muppets.
That'd be so great. I'm thinking of
Get
some of
wrecked,
the main players. What was the guy that was the bouncer? Remember his? It was
Cornbread.
Cornbread. Cornbread. I feel has to be Fozzie Bear.
Oh yeah.
That would be So cool, like, can we come in? I don't know. Can you? Waka waka waka. And just royally piss off the vampires just because he's punning everything.
He was great. One thing I forgot to talk about was like, we talked about different tonal shifts. Some of it was really, really funny. And one of the scenes that I thought was way funny was Cornbread trying to talk himself into the being invited in.
Oh yeah.
Like, we've never seen like an awkward vampire trying to like trick someone. Oh my gosh. I thought that was great. I love that. Fozzie Bear.
His character is great.
His Cornbread.
And then I'm looking at this cast of Muppets, and I feel this is a sleeper, but you know, we wanted to give people breakout roles. For Conclave, we gave Sam Eagle the main role.
That's true.
And so I think that this is Scooter's time to shine. Do you remember Scooter?
Oh, I know Scooter. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Scooter.
He's usually on the Muppet Show. He's the guy behind the scenes. He's the techie. But I could see him as being the guy that's along for the ride. He's very skilled in his guitar. Doesn't have the same swagger as Rizzo or Michael B. Jordan, but he's there. Like, he's got a lot of potential, and I think invites that. So I think this could be a really fun thing for Scooter to take the lead.
Everyone refers to him as Preacher Boy.
Yeah.
The other thing is you can have fun with Scooter's dad.
Okay.
Because you have to have the old preacher. Is it just an aged up Scooter?
Or is it
just another Muppet where we're just not making any concession to parentage whatsoever?
Yeah, like the Kung Fu Panda thing where it's like the goose and the
yeah, exactly.
It'd be really fun to have the same character, you know, a very, very Southern, you know, black Baptist preacher.
Yeah.
And then Scooter, who's just
Scooter.
very yellow.
You just cast the exact same actor.
Yeah, just the exact same. But I do like the idea of. I think that's one thing that Muppets, like what you're saying, like, I love the idea of just like living harmoniously and not letting the differences get in the way of just functioning normally.
Yeah.
And so I think Muppets do that really well, and I think this could be one of those things where it's like, guys, let's bridge the gap.
Yeah.
And let's just all interact as humans and Muppets.
Humans and Muppets. We have so much to learn from our Muppet brethren and sistren. Let me throw out a couple more. The shop owners.
Oh, yeah.
Bunsen and Beaker.
But
possibly.
I feel like they've been cast in every movie, but I think that's a necessity.
You're right, but I just love them so much.
It's a necessity. You always have a dynamic duo in these movies, and Bunsen and Beaker, they're a dynamic duo. Name another more iconic dynamic duo.
Can't.
You can't.
Can't do it. Except perhaps Statler and Waldorf. But they have to be at the party just up in the rafters.
Yes.
Just breaking people down as they do.
Juke joint, more like a puke joint.
What about, again, I'm thinking butts and seats.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a lot of draw already with the main cast, with Michael B., but fan favorite, my favorite, Gonzo.
Ooh.
Where does he fit? Is Gonzo the preacher preaching to a congregation of chickens?
Maybe, okay. This, all right. Maybe this. So we always.
Wow.
Are you thinking okay, maybe not.
No, I have no idea. Just go for it.
Okay. So we always establish that Gonzo is with the chickens. What if Gonzo is the Grand Dragon Master of the KKK? And when Michael B. Jordan just nukes them all, it's just like, and he's using his machine gun. It's Gonzo and an army of chickens, and there's just feathers.
And it's just
everywhere.
A biting satire.
Yes.
Of racist extremists. They're all just chickens.
Yeah.
They're big cowards.
Big freaking chickens.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm not opposed to seeing an audition tape for Gonzo being the preacher. However, if I were to cast my vote, it would be Gonzo as the leader of the KKK, along with his army of chickens.
Okay, if anyone has any doubt about this movie, TLDR, Michael B. Jordan shooting Gonzo with a Browning automatic rifle. Talk about butts and seats.
Amen, brother.
Wow.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Bridging time and space, music, and Muppets.
What could be better? Let's call it.
Okay, this was fun, Ben.
That was great.